So much for one of the most deeply held beliefs of the censorship community. Oh, I'd like to see you try that on PC. I'll just go to another storefront. I'll mod. I'll buy games from other countries. I'll use a VPN. I'll use a Japanese credit card. All of that is in the midst of being shut down. And the consumers of DLsite are coping and seething about it right now. Now, if you don't know what DLsite is, congratulations, you're not a fucking degenerate. But I myself had to learn what this thing was. I didn't know anything about it until the controversy came about. But apparently, it's some Japanese storefront where they sell porn to their consumers. Right. So what this means is because of the differences between Japanese and English culture, Westerners can buy games about little girls getting fucked. And of course, nobody fucking likes that, right? It's disgusting, but there is this really big pushback in the pedophile sphere on YouTube, the lolicons, the people who people I don't know, Digibro or whoever, there is a lot of pushback among these people about not being able to allow, the fact that they're not allowed to buy these kinds of games anymore is censorship. That's their idea. That's their entire line. Let me exercise my freedoms to do degenerate shit, right? Obviously, this isn't how it works, right? You are not free to jack off to porn, right? Porn is not free speech. But over the past several years, we've seen these people try to attach themselves to free speech issues. When people like me are out talking about, the Jews and how they control everything, and are getting shut down left and right because of it, right? When people are making all these really acute observations about certain demographics that are getting shut down by universities, everything in regards to the black community and their crime rate, right? Homosexuals and how they rape little boys, right? People like me are getting shut down by about that all the time, right? But meanwhile, the gooners, people like Flamenco or Gator or Raging Golden Eagle, they're spending their time, jacking off the lolicon and then trying to make free speech issues about them. Okay? That's their mindset. That's why they've co-opted Gamergate twice. That's why they've attached themselves to conservative circles. It's why there's such a rabid thing in this sphere. These people, the right-wing anime people seriously think we are going to advocate for them being able to jack off to lolicon. And of course that's not going to happen. Of course people are against that when they understand what exactly it is, right? But, over the past decade or more, these people have kind of just been worming their way into other more credible movements to try and push their nonsense, right? Banning porn wouldn't do us any good, Megatow, man. They go around demonizing the idea of getting married and having a family. Oh, she's just gonna cheat on you, bro. They do everything to justify their behavior. Anything except to grow up and take some responsibility. And I do think this is the defining characteristic of the big issue dividing the real conservative right versus the lolberts, because the lolberts have this mindset that oh man, bro, you should be able to do whatever you want, bro, you're free to do it, do whatever you like, man. But in reality, no, you absolutely cannot do disgusting bullshit like this. And yes, this should be criminalized. Yes, you should be sent to prison. Yes, like you should be put to death for being a pedophile, right? Like this isn't all that controversial to say, right? People don't like pedos. So, um, so with like the recent like situation with DLsite and like the sheer amount of like people in the sphere who have like advocated for it, people like Grums, Raging Golden Eagle, I think is a big advocate for it. Like we really need to tell these people to fuck off. Because nobody cares about your anime titties. Nobody cares that you can't get a GF, that you've never talked to a girl, that you wouldn't even know what to do with one if you did, right? Like, Nobody nobody respects you, nobody cares about you, you're finished, okay? Like the only reason you've gotten as far as you did was by latching on to like legitimate free speech issues. That's it. That's the only way you've been able to get any credibility at all. Rekieta Law, great example, great example. Vic Mignogna is getting attacked by feminists who are accusing him of sexually assaulting them or whatever was going on with that. Like, obviously nonsense. Everybody involved knows it, but like, he gets fired from Crunchyroll because of it. Nick Rekieta talks about it. Oh, now he has to pretend to be an anime fan. Okay, so what does he do? Like, he talks to gooners. He talks to like absolute degenerates. He talks to people in like the hentai space, people who sexualize cosplay, like people who like who openly talk about like gooning to lolicon, right? Like you just have all of these like disgusting people, and Rekieta does everything in his power to enable it, right? To give it some credibility, to give it some respect, because like, oh, it's just drawings, bro. Like, oh, people can just do whatever they want, bro. And I think if we've learned anything by watching like the downfall of Nick Rekieta, it does have an impact, right? The things you say and you do, the way you behave, the people you spend time around, the things you do, the content you consume, it is absolutely a thing that affects you. And so if you're consuming copious amounts of like lolicon porn, yes, you are the sort of person who is going to go on to be a child molester. And I believe this very strongly, by watching what I've seen of these people online, being acquainted with the stereotypes and how these people look and act and who they spend time around, like the way they all have like the same like generic anime girl avatars, their overall behavior, like these people are despicable. And we absolutely need to start condemning them in the community. Like, these people have been an absolute blight on conservatism, on Gamergate, on a general anime culture, honestly, because over the past decade, these people aren't talking about great new shows from great creators with great animations, with great storylines, with fascinating, memorable characters. They're talking about the underage girl not showing enough skin. They're talking about fetishizing high schoolers. They're talking about just gooning to the most depraved things imaginable. Okay. And I've seen it, even now that I'm older, I still occasionally see people like make really disgusting comments on like, 4chan threads and stuff like that. And it's like disgusting me more and more. It's so off-putting, like coming to terms with like what these people are actually like and just how despicable they actually are. I think in a lot of ways, like DLsite being shut down this way is a very good thing for the community. I think, men like Packer Girl on Twitter who are like crying about it need to go jump in a lake. I do think with like a bunch of bricks attached to them. Like just like, so you sink to the bottom. I think that like overall, like a lot of what I'm seeing in regards to like the cultural shift in Japan is actually pretty positive because no, I don't want to see them sexualizing underage girls. It's not acceptable, it's not funny, it's not cute. Like it really needs to stop. And I am a big major advocate of this cultural change.